The first time legendary Joe DiMaggio was asked to provide a reporter with a quote, he expressed confusion. He said that he always thought that a quote was a kind of soft drink. He quickly found out differently, as did the rest of us, who have made famous quotes a staple of our bodies of knowledge and our libraries. Bartlett's familiar Quotations has enjoyed more than a dozen printings, and most of us like to use a quote to set the tone or to bolster a speech or a piece of writing. The popularity of the quote probably shouldn't be a mystery to us, because adding a quote allows us to say what we want to say that we wish we could have thought of ourselves. It puts words into our mouths when we want to sum things up in just the right way. This Shabbat, our Torah portion, Va'et Hanan, could be a mini Bartlett's familiar quotations for the Jewish soul. Several of them found their way into our Siddur, such as the Shema and the V'ahavta. Others have found their way, for better or for worse, onto the doorways of courthouses in select states, as is the case with the Ten Commandments. All in all, this portion is chock full of Judaism's greatest hits, if you will. One such phrase summarizes the importance of this phenomenon. When in time to come, the Torah tells us, your children ask you, what mean the decrees, laws, and rules that Adonai our God has enjoined upon you? You shall say to your children, we were slaves to Pharaoh in Egypt, and Adonai freed us from Egypt with a mighty hand. Now you probably recognize this quote from the Passover Seder in two different ways. The first sentence represents one of the questions for the four children. The second sentence is the popular song near the beginning of the Magid portion of the Seder, the part of the Seder in which we actually tell of the Exodus from Egypt. But this passage also is notable for what it teaches the listener. It assumes that the generations after us will ask about our history and our heritage, and it assumes that we might not be able to articulate our answers just so. The Torah gives us a script, and as biblical scholar Moshe Weinfeld points out, it does so many other times, especially in relation to the story of the Exodus. Now, is this to say that the Torah doesn't trust in our ability to tell our story, to teach our tradition? I don't think that would be a fair assessment. Rather, I think it reflects the need of everyone to have a verbal guide, to have a set of quotes or standard lines to say when the questions are most vital and difficult. We're always asked questions that are so hard to answer, especially when we're put on the spot. And sometimes, when a silent response won't do, we can use a stock phrase or two to at least get us started. Certainly, if all we ever said were quotes said by others, we would be rightfully dismissed as a parrot. But we can hardly be blamed for using quotes as a point of entry, as a method for putting words into our mouths to form a basis for our ideas and our thoughts. And our job, of course, is to build from there. Amen. Shabbat Shalom.